Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back for episode 2 of the Fourth and Two podcast.
Fourth and Two.
We're back in the studio
We're
again.
back, baby.
Man, we were excited to get back here. Let me tell you what, this has been such a fun process. We haven't even been doing it, a crazy long time yet, but it's been a great time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we wanted to get back right into more content. Why don't you tell them what we got today?
Yeah. So today we're doing wide receivers. So we're going to be ranking our top 10 fantasy wide receivers. But before I even get to that, I do want to say I really do appreciate everybody that's listened to the last episode. I want to thank everybody for all the love you guys have shown us. This is
likes,
awesome.
comments, shares,
comments, all
everything.
that.
It's been amazing.
That blew my mind. Wasn't expecting anything in like what we received. So I'm really thankful for all you guys. Seriously,
yes, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
But getting into today's episode, today we're gonna be ranking. And we don't know each other's rankings.
No,
and I just saw him reordering his rankings. So
rewrote it like 4 times.
We're both going to be pretty much in shock. But we're going to go through our top 10 quarterbacks this year.
No, not quarterbacks. Receivers.
Top 10 receivers this year.
We did quarterbacks. Go watch that if you missed it. And this is your first one watching. We did quarterbacks. It was our first video, first episode. Go watch that one or listen to wherever you listen to podcasts at. We are on YouTube and we are on Spotify. I will plug it.
Yes.
We also do have a TikTok up and running for like short clips. But as far as full episodes, you can find us on Spotify and YouTube.
Yeah.
So let's dive right in, dude. I'm ready.
You
for
ready?
this list. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's start with 10.
Go ahead. Start with 10.
My number 10 is Marvin Harrison Jr. Of the Cardinals.
Put this coffee down.
He said, "Oh."
Yeah, I was gonna take a sip, but
I
gotta listen to this.
He's my number 10. I think he's gonna have a great year. I think Kyler Murray's gonna have a great year.
Okay.
And I think that when Kyler Murray had a true wide receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, it elevated his play too. And I think Marvin Harrison is one of those generational wide receiver type guys. I could be wrong. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's untested NFL wise, rookie. There's a lot of question marks.
A lot of questions.
But I think he has a great year.
Hey.
So I have him finishing top 10. It's probably it's a spicier take for sure. It's not a solid pick at 10. I at least have him top 20 personally. But as far as like making things interesting and doing something a little bit different, I think I got him at 10.
Yeah. Honestly, great pick. I
like
truly.
That okay.
I think he's very talented.
Yeah, for sure.
I look at that guy and I'm like that guy's gonna be something, right?
Sure.
I am very excited about him too.
Yeah.
But jumping into my 10, right? So at 10, my 10th. My wide receiver 10 on fantasy football this year, in fantasy football, is going to be none other than Davante Adams.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So I've got him at 10. I see him doing really well with the Raiders this year. I see the Raiders bringing in Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
I see them, they brought in, I forget the running back, but they brought in a different running back.
I know they lost Jacobs.
And they brought in I can't remember the running back name. Holy crap! But I think with that, it wasn't an equal talent to Jacobs. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And so with that, I think they're going to be throwing the ball a lot this year. Gardner Minshew. I think they're probably going to air it out a lot. So I got Davante Adams.
We're talking about Davante Adams.
And it's Davante Adams, man. I don't think. And honestly, I don't know if you saw the social media stuff happening. So I think he's gonna come out on a tear.
Yeah,
I really do. I think he's gonna have a good year this year. So
I think I have him having a pretty good year as well.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, rolling to number 9. So my number 9 is Deebo Samuel from the Niners.
Okay. Wow.
Yep. Listen, let me tell you something. So I say number 9 because here's why. So I actually had Deebo last year. Deebo is one of those guys, in my opinion, even last year, he's just not talked about a whole lot.
Yeah.
But he has rushing upside in their offense, and he has a lot of screen catches. And why that's important is because for us at least, we play PPR leagues.
Yeah.
So in PPR, every reception, rushing 10 yards, those are huge. And you're talking about a guy who's a receiver and they kind of use him as a running back.
Yeah.
So the upside for Deebo in the offense he's in is great. And I mean, and he I mean, he had a great year last year too. But I think also with the Ayuk stuff, I think that there might be a little bit of like, not hesitation with Ayuk and Purdy, but a little bit. You know, I don't know if he's going to be there all season. Like we don't even know.
He could get traded.
Yeah, and so I think maybe Debo gets a couple more looks, maybe like stuff like that. But I like it because of the fact that he's got rushing upside and receiving upside. Sure. So he was not on my original list. I will say he was not on my original, but I rewrote it.
I was gonna say,
really did.
That's a guy I haven't heard you talk about all summer.
Right.
Like I'm talking that just shocked me. But dude, I don't know what I think about that. Personally, like I'm going to give my opinion. You guys let us know.
Yeah, let me know what you think about Deebo Samuel this year. Let me know what you think he's going to do.
I don't know what I think about Deebo this year. I know. But yes, dude, good take.
All right, yeah, we'll see.
My number 9 is going to be none other than Puka Nacua.
So, tell me more. I'm curious on this.
Okay, you know my love for Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally
solid
2020
when he's not hurt.
So essentially, with Cooper, I see Cooper as a very like a technician. I mean, the dude is just very good at what he does.
Yep.
And so I think looking at Puka last year, I had him on a fantasy. I actually drafted him last year. Like I was like listening to Sean McVay and heard some. I think I won't throw names out, but I heard a sports announcer talk about him a little bit, and I was like, dang! And I went and watched him play a little bit, and was like, that guy is really good. He reminds me a lot of Cooper Kupp, so I just picked him up in Dynasty. Yeah. And long story short, I mean, I don't regret it. The dude,
right. Yeah,
I think
especially in Dynasty,
Dynasty-wise, man, the dude finished in the top 10, I believe, last year.
Was he top 10? He was around there for sure.
Yeah, I believe he was in the top 10 last year as a receiver. And, like, honestly, like, I mean, I think it's another year of that. I think Cooper Kupp is – I don't see Cooper Kupp being that – we had 2020, a lot of targets towards Cooper Kupp. And it's always been just Matthew Stafford feeding that one guy, right?
Right.
Now I see it kind of as equals out, and I look at the targets and the amount that they're throwing the ball. If you put it amongst two receivers, I still see Puka coming out on top with the Yaks and ended up being in top 10. One of those guys is going to be top 10, and I'd pick Puka over Cooper.
You know what's? It's a very interesting.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting look. Yeah. I actually don't have Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua in my top 10. I have neither. But that's a whole different video on some of those things. But let us know what you think about Puka. I'm curious. You're curious about Debo. I'm curious about Puka for what they got on that. I think it's very interesting. I think he has a lot of upside for sure. But 9. I don't know, man. I don't know, but hey, we'll see.
I'm tamer. I'm like taming myself a little bit, but I am I think the sky's the limit for this guy.
Okay.
Like I really do believe that like we could have a nuclear year where he goes number 1. If Cooper Kupp goes down, I think he will probably be fighting in that top 3.
Wow.
Personally.
Okay.
But
all right.
That's just me personally.
All right. Well.
Yeah. So number 8. Who do you got for number 8?
So 8. 8, I have Stephon Diggs.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I couldn't leave him out of the top 10.
Dang, okay, interesting.
Just because of his skill base, right? There's some guys that are. It's kind of like how we were talking about our quarterback list, right? Like there's just some guys you can't leave out of the top 5 or the top whatever, right? And I think Diggs is one of you can't leave him out of the top 10.
Yeah.
I've got him at 8, so I've got him a little bit lower. And the reason I've got him a little bit lower than like if he was still on the Bills, he'd probably be like a 5-4 for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But because he went to Houston, where there's Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz, like there's a lot of pieces.
Yeah.
This is going to be one of the teams that he's been on that has the most pieces, in my opinion. He was in Minnesota. They had some. He was still the main guy in Minnesota for the most part too. So this is the first team he's going to that there's a lot of targets to be shared. So that's why I have him dropping a couple spots, but also It's Stefon Diggs.
It is Stefon
He's
Diggs,
one of those
man.
top guys. So I can't not put him in the top 10.
Hey.
But I think he fell down a little bit. Yeah. And that's just because, not talent-wise. I think there's just a lot of people to feed. Yeah. So, yeah, I've got him at 8.
Dude, this might be a little spicy, but he's not in my top 10. And due to that factor. So I see too many mouths to feed in Houston. I am bullish on Houston, though. I think both Houston is going to be a great team this year. But I see, being a Bengals fan, watching Joe Mixon go over there. Joe Mixon, man, he's not just running up the middle. That man can do it all. He can take a screen from the outside. He can, so it's one of those things where there's a lot of targets to go around in that Houston offense, and I don't think there's going to be enough to push a number one receiver. Yeah. Now I think if anyone succeeds in that offense, it's going to be Stefon Diggs, right? I mean, I think he's going to get his yards. He's going to get his catches.
He's going to get his.
He's going to get his. Sure. Like Stefon Diggs is that generational.
It'll be if Diggs self-implodes like he has in the last. Teams he's been on, but
it's just one of those things. Yeah.
Who do you got for 8, man?
So 8, this is my guy. This is my guy. This is a guy I have loved since college. I think
at the University of
the Ohio State University.
Oh, what a great university! I must say.
Yeah, this is my guy. I think this guy is. As a receiver, I love watching. Or I'm not a receiver, but
as a fan,
fan of receivers, I love technicians. I love watching people be like great route runners. I love watching deep threats. I love seeing how they operate, if they're, how they read inside shade, all those stuff. I love that stuff.
Yep.
This guy, Mr. Christopher Olave, is everything you can ask for in a receiver. I mean, this dude can beat you deep. He can get physical with you. Yep. He can be a technician if he needs to. He can be physical. It's ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, the dude is very talented. So I got him in my top 10. I got him at 8. Yeah. And I think this is the year that him and Derek Carr figured that out. Getting another year underneath their belt, him actually having a quarterback consecutively 2 years in a row is going to be really good for him. And I think he's going to end up taking the ceiling off, of these.
Yeah, I like it.
So
I like it.
Christopher Olave, man.
Absolutely great pick. I love the pick. All right, 7.
Yeah.
Rolling into 7. So my number 7 is actually a former teammate of Mr. Christopher Olave.
Okay.
Same team, same year. Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
So I've got Garrett Wilson at 7. Yeah. I will say in my previous list, I had him a little bit higher. Yeah. But I moved him down just a hair. Yeah. And it's because there were some other guys I think needed to be moved up a little bit.
Yeah.
But again, same kind of guy. I mean, I think you just explained Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. Very good on routes.
Oh, shoot.
I think Garrett Wilson's a little bit more of a physical receiver style than Olave, being the main difference. But also, I think quarterback difference is a little bit of a different play there for me too. You've got Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball, and then you've got Derek Carr. Some can make a case about how Aaron Rodgers might not have it anymore or older, stuff like that. But to me, I think I would pick the Hall of Fame quarterback than the guy who not quite there yet. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I've got Garrett Wilson at 7, man. Hey. I think he's gonna have a good year.
Dude, I'm in agreement there.
Okay. Are you at 7? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Oh, different 7. Oh, you like the pick. Who's your 7?
I like your pick, but my 7.
Yeah.
AJ Brown.
Wow, at 7.
Yeah.
Okay, why at 7?
I think the Eagles this year are gonna be a lot more balanced, personally.
Interesting.
I think last year, they started the season off hot. The Eagles were killing people. I mean, they were freaking killing us, right? They were killing people, teams.
Yeah.
And so essentially, I think towards the end of the year, we saw something going on with the Eagles. No one knows what really was going on. Everyone's got speculations. But I think, one thing that we're going to see is the Eagles come out and be a little more balanced. I think bringing Saquon Barkley in shows kind of their hand a little bit in the sense where they're going to want to run the ball and throw the ball and not just run it with Jalen Hurts.
Not try to be one-dimensional. Yeah.
Have this actual full aerial and ground attack. Yeah. And so with that, I see A.J. Brown just ticking down a little bit. I know last year he was probably in top 5, I'm guessing. He was probably 4. He was doing great. And I mean, A.J. Brown is one of those generational talent guys, but
for sure,
I see him, put him at 7. You know, okay. There are some guys that I'm like, they're
still a good year, just a little bit under what last year was.
Yeah. So
I'm not mad at it.
Right.
Yeah. Sweet. All right, rolling into number 6, man. All right, so number 6. I will say number 6 is a guy that I will be honest with you. I forgot he existed over the summer.
Oh.
I forgot he existed genuinely, and not in a rude way at all. It's just a guy that, again, I feel like he gets talked about during the season, but I don't hear a lot of people keeping up with him.
Yeah.
And that's Mr. CeeDee Lamb.
Oh, okay.
Mr. CeeDee Lamb. Dude, he had a phenomenal year last year.
Oh, my.
And even during the phenomenal year, I feel like he just, honestly, I feel like CeeDee Lamb is one of the most underrated or discredited receivers in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think that he genuinely, talent-wise, he's top 3 talent in my book. But he's one of those guys, man, that he has good years, and not like people talk about him during the season, but man, he is so stinking good. Like, I don't know why he's not talked about more. Genuinely. And I don't think people think he's bad by any means, but he's just not talked about.
I think, and I think with the Cowboys, most of the attention goes to
Dak and Jerry.
I mean, and their defense, you know?
Yeah.
So that's like most of the attention, but CD is, I mean, I agree.
Yeah, I think he's, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
I think he's the most underrated receiver in the NFL. Meaning, like, appreciated. I know everybody knows he's good, right? I'm not saying that y'all don't think he's good. For sure, we all know he's good. But he's so underappreciated. Even
for what
Dallas.
He does week in, week out.
Yeah, like that man.
They're trying to figure out if they're going to pay him. It's like, pay the man. Come on.
Right.
Dude is... Anyway,
that's a whole nother topic.
That's a whole other topic, man.
Who you got at 6?
But yeah, jumping in at 6, I thought about changing this pick all day. That's how recent.
Like out of top 10 or up or lower? Like
bring him
up. Okay.
He's a guy that I'll just tell you the guy and I'll tell you my pros and my cons, right?
Yeah, who you got?
Mr. Tyreek Hill at 6.
Okay.
Out of my top 5.
All right. So why 6 out of the 5?
Whew. It's a tough decision. I love Tyreek Hill. I think, honestly, talent-wise, the dude is probably one of the best receivers in the game, personally. I think he's, talent-wise, in agreement, probably the best or one of the best receivers.
It's hard to argue that.
In the game, right? But, man, the Dolphins, my cons is I don't know what Tua we're getting this year. And it's been 3 years of different Tuas. And it's like, if we get
different builds of Tua's, everything, man.
And no disrespect to Tua. Like, I mean, I can't imagine being an NFL quarterback, but man.
I have no room to speak.
What Tua do we,
I got no room to speak. But, it is true. Tua is a big question mark for the Dolphins season.
And I believe if you're going to be in the top 5, you got to have that quarterback. That quarterback that's consistent, that can get you the ball and get you to do to be a weapon. Especially as a receiver, I see a lot of receivers that are talented with terrible quarterbacks in the general talk of NFL quarterbacks. Not but great receivers with pretty decent or bad quarterback play that I'm like, man, they're not even talked about, but they're incredible, right? And I think there are...
That goes back into the Garrett Wilson tape. But
so it's like then you have receivers that are just doesn't matter who's their quarterback. They are just elite. And I think that's talking about those guys moves into those top 5 guys.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So speaking
of top 5, so just keep them up. I got Tyreek Hill at number 5.
Yeah.
And what's funny to me is most of the stuff you were saying is the exact reason I put him at 5.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't take him out of my top 5. And you said the key word as the last sentence. Tyreek Hill is too good for it to matter who's throwing him the ball.
You can give him a screen and you could get a touchdown. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like, the last sentence of what you said is the exact reason I couldn't keep him out of my top 5.
Yeah.
Because he is so good that it doesn't necessarily... It matters to some degree, obviously, right? But he's one of those top 5, receivers, right? Obviously. So you can't, like, to me, you just can't move him out of there.
Yeah.
Now, his ceiling is probably 1, and I think his floor is no less than 10. Oh, so, I mean, you're not getting a less than top 10 Tyreek Hill. Mm-hmm. So, I've got him at 5 just because of the question marks of Tua. Yeah. But if Tua wasn't a question mark, he'd probably be 3 or 2. I mean, he's up there. Especially skill wise. But so who do you got at 5? Who's 5? That upper echelon you have?
So 5 was me making a statement. This 5 is a guy that I really am bullish on this year, and it was like, where do I put him? Like, I'm bullish on him. I want him in my top 5.
Yeah.
Is he a top 5 receiver? I don't know. Right? Mm-hmm. I don't know, but I really am bullish on this guy, and I think this guy's going to have a great year. And so for me, my 5 is Garrett Wilson. So to me, like, I had Tua at 5 and I had Garrett Wilson at 6. I had to put Garrett Wilson in at 5. I think he's going to be top 5 this year. I think this is his year. Yeah. He's no offense to Zach Wilson or any of the other quarterbacks he's had, but, like, he's done great stuff with quarterbacks that I'm like, okay, interesting.
Questionable.
So giving him a quarterback that Aaron Rodgers, you're giving him a competent quarterback that's Hall of Fame at the end of his career. I think Garrett Wilson, the sky's the limit. That dude could be number 1. That dude definitely solidified in top 5. So
I think the reason I had him at 7 versus the 5 is because it's Aaron Rodgers, meaning based off the injury. The injury and the age is the big thing. Yeah. If Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy and play even at half or 3/4 of what Aaron Rodgers is or was, that's still better than a lot of guys that Garrett Wilson has had throwing him the ball.
Yeah.
So that's where the upside is, but I had to move him down a little bit just because of the question marks around Rodgers. Yeah. But we're kind of in that same ballpark for him, for sure. But, rolling into my 4, dude.
4.
So my 4 is actually, it's funny, we're kind of a little bit opposite on this guy. A.J. Brown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've got A.J. Brown at 4. Again, a guy I don't think I can move out of my top 5.
Okay.
I think he's too generationally good.
Yeah.
I think Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback. They have the chemistry there.
Yeah.
Devonta Smith has been hit or miss for the last year or 2.
Yeah.
And I think the reason I have A.J. Brown's stock going up is because the Eagles can stretch the field. Mm-hmm. He may get more one-on-ones. He may get more mismatch. Like, he may have opportunity for that, or they may be committing more to the run. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they may be more distracted by the fact that it's Saquon, that it could create more opportunities. Now, it could also, hand in hand, right? We're at the, like, glass half full, glass half empty scenario here, right? Glass half empty being, Saquon's there, he's going to take away touches or targets.
Yeah.
That's one way to look at it.
That's where I'm looking at it.
But then I'm looking at it the way of, you know what? Saquon stretches the field. Maybe it gives him some one-on-one islands. They run a play action, and dude, you throw the ball up there, he's going to go get it. So, like, you know what I mean? I'm kind of on that side of it. Yeah. And the reason being is because, A, it's Jalen Hurts, and B, it's A.J. Brown. Enough said. Like, I couldn't leave him out of my top 5 personally. But
I'm excited to see how many teams come out playing press man against A.J. Brown this year.
Don't do it.
Like,
I just don't.
I'm like, man, I'm very curious. Like, it's A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf.
Oh,
like, who's gonna who signs up to play press man against those guys?
Oh, yeah, no.
But that's a whole nother topic.
Yep.
Like, I'm like,
who's your 4 though?
Yeah, so going into 4, right?
Yep.
My 4. Okay, this is a little spicy.
Okay.
It's a little spicy.
A little spicy. Ice spice? Spice.
It's spice.
You see what I said?
See what I did that?
Ice spice?
So number 4 is Justin Jefferson.
Ooh, at the 4.
At the 4. So I moved him down. I didn't put him in my top 3. He's been in the top 3 consistently, I think, his whole career.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the dude, talent-wise, there with Tyreek Hill. Yeah. I mean, what?
Maybe even better.
He probably, that's a whole nother conversation, right? But essentially, I put him at 4. I think new quarterback, whole new system, new coach.
Yeah, a lot of news.
A lot of new stuff.
Yeah.
And essentially, like, they go with the rookie. I don't see him having that great of a year, right? They go with Sam.
I think they're going to start with Darnold.
They go with Sam Darnold. I think he's going to have a good year. Yeah. But we'll see what Darnold does, right? Darnold has been kind of a great field manager, right? Is that what you call it?
Very systematic.
Very, very system. He's great at that. And I think Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison are great for that scheme.
Yeah.
I think they're going to do great in there, but we'll see who Sam Darnold throws the ball. Sam Darnold might not throw into those tight windows.
Yeah.
And give Justin Jefferson those opportunities. So we'll see. I put him at 4. I love the man, love the talent. I don't see that system being hyper targeted, focusing on him with Jordan Addison there and stuff like that. So anyway, cool. I'm on the half empty side.
Huh. All right, you're on the glass half empty.
Yeah.
All right, well, on the top 3, man.
Top 3.
I'm starting my top 3 with. I think we may actually be sitting at the same spot on this. I haven't seen your list, but I'm curious. I'm kind of confident we've landed on the same guy on here. I'm hoping we did.
I don't think so, but go ahead.
I'm kind of confident, but we'll see. Anyways, my number 3 is Amon-Ra St. Brown from the Lions. We did not? Dang, I really thought we were gonna match up on that. Yeah. But yeah, I've got Amon-Ra at 3.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about the Lions in the quarterback video with Jared Goff, and here's the thing. Again, Amon-Ra is one of those top guys. Amon-Ra probably would have genuinely, if I didn't have question marks about Tyreek, I probably would have swapped Amon-Ra to 5 and Tyreek at 3.
Yeah.
But because the Tua question mark, a little bit of that stuff, he fell just a hair. But again, like we talked about in the quarterback video, these top 5 guys, especially top 3, but all these top 5 guys, a lot of them you can interchange spot, like they're so like we're splitting hairs here on some of these guys,
especially
and so
top 3, like,
especially but yeah, I've got Amon-Ra having a great year. Jared Goff has been playing out of his mind.
My gosh,
and Amon-Ra is, dude, he's a top talent. I think he could be taking over the league in the next couple of years if he's on the same pace. But yeah, I'm pretty high on him. But who do you got to start your top 3?
So my top 3, number 3 is CeeDee Lamb.
Oh, you're a lot higher on him. Yeah. I had Lamb at 6.
Yeah. Okay. So CeeDee Lamb, I am very bullish on CeeDee. CeeDee is you've said it a lot. I mean, the dude not talked about enough. I'll say that. And I think he is a talent that. Just pay CeeDee Lamb. Yeah. I'll just pay the man. Pay him. Come on now. But he honestly, I think last year, he honestly was.
Hey, if not CeeDee, I hear the weather's fantastic in LA. The Chargers will love you. Man, but that's a little side note. But Herbert needs the help, please. Yeah. Anyways.
But
under talked about.
Honestly, I think dude's gonna have, especially the fact that they're questioning.
Yeah.
Paying him, I think he's going to come out hot. I think he's going to come out just like
on a prove it year.
Just a year that's hey,
not prove it, but
not even just hey man, middle fingers to the sky. I am
I'm good,
right? And so I am.
Somebody's going to pay me. It's either going to be Dallas or somewhere else.
Somebody's going to pay him, And so honestly, CeeDee Lamb is 3 for me.
Okay, I like it. I think it's a great pick. I mean, we're talking marginal differences here, so I like him at the 3. All right, number 2.
Number 2. Who's your number 2?
Justin Jefferson.
Okay.
Again, I can't move Jefferson out of the top 3, and the reason why is you kind of brought it up a little bit earlier, where it was Sam Darnold and the rookie, and but he's so good. That's the point right there. Mm-hmm. Justin Jefferson is so good that it does not necessarily matter who's throwing him the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, you look at last season, the Vikings had a lot of different quarterbacks coming in. They had Josh Dobbs at one point. They had Kirk Cousins for
had a rookie in there too.
They had a rookie. They had so many different guys, and Justin Jefferson was hurt quite a bit last year, to be fair too. But even with him being hurt, I think he still hit over 1,000 yards receiving.
Dude was nuclear.
He is again one of those guys that is so good that it doesn't necessarily matter if he has an A-list quarterback, in my opinion, right? He's so talented that he's going to be open. He just needs somebody that can throw a ball to him when he's open, right? That's what we're looking for. And I think Darnold can do that. And JJ can probably do that to some degree too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll see about that guy.
JJ, yeah, that'll be a very interesting one. But yeah, I've got
JJ.
JJ. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I've got Jefferson at 2 though. I again generational talent.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
But who's your 2?
Dang. So my 2 is Mr. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Okay.
Himself.
Oh, we were close. All right,
yeah,
2-3. We were close.
Dude, Amon-Ra is, man. I remember watching him in 2020. And I think I might have, we were in a fantasy league and I was like looking through receivers and I was like, this dude's getting like consistently 10 to 11 targets.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check him out, at 2020 because I had Cooper Kupp and I was like, I'm good at receiver, but I kept seeing Amon-Ra getting all these targets in Detroit. I remember going and watching some film on him and being like, hold up, that dude looks good, and then started watching just watching him as a route runner and learning about him, and then essentially saw his little list, his list of quarterbacks or receivers that were drafted above him, and his drive of like how he's like, hey, that's I'm gonna
prove it.
I'm gonna prove it that I'm actually an elite receiver.
Yeah.
And now, I was already amazed then, but now I'm like, he's
more.
here, and like honestly, this year. Sky's the limit. I got him at 2. He might be the overall best receiver this year.
Yeah. I'm
with Detroit, the way they're running their offense now, that run, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, and their offensive line protecting Jared Goff, giving Goff that time in the pocket. I think Amon-Ra, sky's the limit, man.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Number 2 for me
right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude's gonna have a great year in fantasy.
Great pick.
Yeah.
All right. Number 1.
Yeah. Who do you got number 1?
Listen.
If you don't have my guy.
Number 1, let's just number 1's Ja'Marr Chase.
Oh, let's go!
That's Ja'Marr Chase.
Who that? Hey, say it. I'm gonna just jump in there. I got Ja'Marr Chase right at 1. Too.
Yeah, I here's the thing. I think Ja'Marr has a big year. I think Joe Burrow comes back and balls out.
You're gonna cry,
dude. Joe Burrow's gonna come back. All right, we got Slim Shady himself out there. All right. But no, on a serious note, Ja'Marr Chase is a generational talent. He's just in there with Jefferson. But specifically, I think Chase has a big upside. I mean, Boyd left, so I think he's going to get a little bit more target share.
Yeah.
They did bring in that Jermaine Burton kid. If y'all are in 12-man or Dynasty, look at Jermaine Burton. Mm-hmm. All right, that's a little golden nugget right there. Yeah. Look at Jermaine Burton. He's good. I promise.
Yeah.
But besides him, I can't talk enough about Ja'Marr Chase as far as the upside. I had him last year. It was tough with Joe Burrow being hurt, Ja'Marr Chase being a little bit hurt. So I know a lot of guys are probably not going to skip on him, but they're going to move him down the draft board just a hair.
He'll still go in the first round, but they'll be like,
but let me tell you, it's still worth it. I think this is going to be one of his best career years.
Go nuclear.
I think he's having a phenomenal year.
Yeah. And if you guys...
we matched up.
Yeah, we
got one. One of them. And it was our number 1.
Sitting here like, did he not put Ja'Marr in his top 10?
Oh, no.
I was like, man, like, what's so disrespectful?
Yeah, anyway, I could not put him in there.
I don't have to say anything. You guys, if you guys saw any of our last episode, me talking about the Bengals, Joe Burrow's my number 1. Clearly, if Joe Burrow's my number 1, my number 1 receiver.
Yeah.
My number 1 quarterback, Joe Burrow, clearly.
Yeah.
My number 1 receiver has to lock with Ja'Marr. And so I think, I think my Bengals are going to end up taking the Super Bowl this year. I think this is the year.
That's a hot take. That one right there, that's hot. I don't know about that one, but
if we can get our offensive line to actually hold out all year.
Hey, listen, if y'all could have figured that out 2 years ago, you already had a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
but, that's different conversation.
Different conversation right there.
But all right, let's.
But anyway,
these,
great top 10.
Yeah, great lists. I mean, most of our guys are some of the same guys, just mixed around, honestly. Right. And that goes to. I don't think any of these guys. Some of these guys are slightly more talented than others, but a lot of these guys it's just more on the situation they're in, what we're thinking, how we look at, and how we perceive their offenses, stuff like that. But a lot of these guys are very similar. So I think both lists are comparable, and I think they're great. But rolling into sleeper and dark horses.
Yeah.
So my sleeper.
We'll do honorable mention.
Oh yes,
honorable mention. So honorable mention is going to be a guy that like almost made your top 10.
Yeah.
But you just couldn't put him in there, right?
Yep. So my honorable is actually DK Metcalf.
Oh. Was not expecting that.
I think DK Metcalf has a pretty good year. He's a big body, super physical. He's an honorable mention, and he's kind of I hate to say this, but he's a lower end honorable mention, meaning like more towards like he's not 11, he'd be like the 20 to 15 range for me. So honorable mention is kind of a loose term for him, but it was a guy that I wanted to bring up and talk about as far as like I thought about him, right? You know, in that sense. But yeah, I've got DK.
Okay, yeah.
Who's your honorable?
Yo, so my honorable mention. This is pretty spicy. A lot of people love this team. A lot of people hate this team. But my honorable mention is going to be Mr. Drake London himself. That's another guy that I've been watching. I've been.
I'm curious about your sleeper because if he's your honorable mention, I could see him being more of a sleeper.
More of a sleeper
in my mind.
Yeah.
But I'm curious.
Yeah. When you hear my sleeper, you're gonna laugh.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna like my sleeper. But yeah, it's Drake London, honorable mention, man. I think he's another guy that, like, I'm not saying he's Amon-Ra St. Brown, but he gets a lot of targets. He's another guy that runs great routes. He's a Chris Olave technician, route
he's
runner.
talented for sure.
So I think he's gonna have a great year with the quarterback for the first time in his career. I shouldn't say that. No disrespect. Just
facts.
Yeah.
All right. My sleeper, dude. My sleeper is Chris Olave.
Oh, okay.
I've got Chris Olave as my sleeper. A lot of people, a lot of the stuff I've been seeing lately, a lot of people are putting Chris Olave towards the bottom. They don't. People think he's talented, but a lot of people have him lower. They're saying, "Oh, he's going, at this number. He should be going, 17 picks." Like a lot of people are kind of pushing him down on that, and I just don't see it. I don't see how you push him down on that. I think he's very talented. I think he's the best receiver on the Saints, and I think Derek Carr loves throwing him the ball.
Yeah.
And we all know Michael Thomas will be hurt. No offense, Michael Thomas, but unfortunately, we know you're going to get hurt this season because he's been hurt every season. And unfortunately, I don't wish that on the guy. Yeah. I hope he stays healthy, but man, every year Michael Thomas gets hurt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got Olave as a sleeper. I think he is I think he's a 11 to 15 kind of guy.
He's in my top 10.
Yeah, he's up there. So who's your sleeper? Who am I gonna laugh at?
Sleeper, man. This guy.
Man, listen. Let me hold on before you say it. Please tell me he's not playing for the Chargers.
He does not play for the Chargers.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about that. Yeah.
Man.
Listen, I'm not going to be picking any Chargers.
You've been seeing that going around recently.
I have been.
They've been talking about Josh Palmer being
he could have a good year.
Anyways, sorry. Go ahead.
I haven't looked into the Chargers.
Who's sleeper though?
But my sleeper is going to be JTB. We got Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins, and Brandon Ayuk. I couldn't pick a sleeper. I sat on those three guys and said, "Oh my gosh, I could not." Pick one of these guys.
Waddle, T. Higgins, and Ayuk.
I will leave my draft with one of those guys. If I can get all three, those are my smart receiving.
What, like the third round?
If I can go, if it runs out, I would grab all those guys. If anytime they're available on the board, I'm grabbing them. Those guys, I believe Jalen Waddle. I think last year, disappointing year, but you know what? Yeah. I had him in fantasy. He started out hot, and I was like, "Yo, I'm about to win." Got hurt, right? Yeah. I think this year, Tua does Tua again, right? Tua meaning good Tua. Jalen Waddle, sky's the limit, man. That dude, talented, right? Brandon Ayuk, great receiver. I think pay the man, honestly, but another great receiver. We're talking about a guy that aren't on a lot of people's radars until last year. But I think that guy is very talented.
Listen.
That guy is another he's in the. I think he's going to be solidified in that generational talent.
Listen, but I ain't gonna lie. My hot take is, don't pay Ayuk.
Yeah,
that's my hot take, man. I say let Ayuk walk. I think Ayuk's good, but do I think Ayuk is that good?
Yeah,
I don't know that Ayuk's worth the money he's asking for personally, but that's based on comparing guys in his bracket and what they're getting paid and the numbers they're producing. Yeah. I'm not a huge believer on Ayuk. I think he's good, absolutely. Yeah. But I think that he's going to have to go to a Carolina or a Chicago to get the money he wants. Or somewhere, giant. Like, he's going to have to go to another team that's Jacksonville. Man, they need help.
Yeah. But I'm on the other boat. I believe Ayuk is he hasn't yet broke out like Amon-Ra like we're talking, but I think if we give him a couple more years, we will be looking back being like, oh, he's a top 10. You know? But personally, that's my... And then T. Higgins. What am I going to say? T. Higgins, pay the man. Come on, Bengals. Come on now. But I think T. Higgins, this is the year. You know, I don't think he's going to get hurt consecutively years. It. And so I couldn't pick one. Those are my 3 guys. I love them. I have them every year in fantasy. Watch out. Those guys are just...
Listen, my dark horse, all right. Some people are going to come out here. They're going to call me crazy. It's all right. I've been called worse, let me tell you. But, dude, my dark horse is JSN.
Okay, yeah.
From Seattle.
Yeah.
Dude, he is good. He's good.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't have a lot of the target share in the beginning of last year coming in as a rookie. But as the year went on, they started giving him the ball a little more. They saw the talent that was there. They kept that going. And my hot take for the season is that actually he becomes wide receiver 2, and Tyler Lockett will drop to the 3rd spot.
Yeah,
at some point in the season.
Yeah.
But again, dark horse being right, I think he's going to be better than what he's projected. He's not a guy that necessarily I would pick over some of these other guys that are a little more solidified, right? Because essentially he's going to be wide receiver 2 or 3 on Seattle. So you've got to consider that when you're drafting, right? You don't want to take a potential wide receiver 3, even though he's super talented. You don't want to take a wide receiver 3 over a guy who's a clear wide receiver 1, right? Like when we're talking fantasy points. Yeah. But if I can snag him in a later round and sub him in some weeks and play, absolutely I'll take him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Who's your dark horse? So who are we wrapping up with?
Dark horse. I just switched my dark horse.
Oh, okay.
And so, dark horse wise, I hate to say this, I'm not a fan of this team at all.
Uh-oh.
They're my least favorite team in the NFL.
Oh.
But this player.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this player is a player that I have come around on. And you know who I'm about to say.
Yep.
It's Mr. George Pickens himself.
Oh, whoa, that was not who I was going to say.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so
I thought you want to know who I thought you were saying?
Who?
I thought you were going to say Zay Flowers.
I also, he was, so they were in the same bucket for me, right?
Okay.
Like, it's George Pickens.
Well, you said your least favorite team, and I figured it'd be the Ravens.
Steelers is my least favorite team, but the Ravens currently are, they're there too.
But yeah, tell me more about Pickens.
But man, I mean, both of those guys though.
Yeah.
Those 2 guys are in great situations right now.
Oh, for sure.
And like,
well,
you know, Zay's been my dark horse for a minute. I had him, still have shares of him, but
I think Pickens has a better situation if Fields plays, but that's another hot take.
That's a hot take, yeah.
I don't think Russell should be starting.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I'm in agreement there.
Yeah.
But I haven't accepted that trade. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
But long story short, man, I love Zay Flowers, but George Pickens this year, I think the sky's the limit. I think there is only 2 mouths to feed on that offense as far as weapons. You got Pat Freiermuth, and I think he's going to have a great year. And I have George Pickens.
Yeah, I had Pickens last year, and he actually had a decent year. It wasn't great, but he also still had Deontay Johnson there, and he's gone. So I like it. Yeah. I like the picks, dude. But that rounds out our top 10 and sleeper and dark horse and all that for our wide receivers. But great list overall. Again, a lot of the guys we're talking about are comparable or right there. Interchangeable, however you want to word that. But hey, we appreciate you guys tuning in for this episode for the top 10 receivers.
Dude.
We're going to be pushing out more fantasy content as we're getting closer to draft day. If y'all got any questions about draft, player comparisons as far as who to take, stuff like that. Even if let us know if you guys want us to do some like mock pick videos. So if you're drafting from if you're picking from the number 5 or the 7,
that'd be fun.
and see what players we come up with for those. Like we love to answer you guys' questions. We love the interaction with it. And again, I think I just want to wrap up with we appreciate you guys. Genuinely,
I was gonna say I am.
Yeah,
it's like not even Thanksgiving yet, but I'm just thankful. I'm like in the
season.
I'm already
Thanksgiving.
It's August, but I'm already in season. I'm like, man, I am just overly excited.
Genuinely,
everybody's great. Like, I appreciate everybody's like great response to it and all the
support.
messages and support. It's like, man, like I was not expecting anything.
Yeah.
And the fact that, like, I mean, I've had friends from, like, high school.
Yeah. Same.
Coming out of the woodwork being like, hey, man, I want to support, love it. That was a great episode. I'm just like, what?
So, I've got people sharing it, liking it. Man, it's been phenomenal.
Yeah,
we appreciate the support. Yeah. Again, we're not doing this to grow into some, massive crazy thing. Yeah, if it does, that'd be great. Awesome. Like, I'm not going to.
We still have our job.
Yeah, I'm not going to turn that down. Right? It'd be amazing. But at the same time, genuinely, it means a lot that you guys take the time to listen to us and hear us out, because
we're just two dudes.
Yeah, like, there are a lot of other ways you can spend your time. There's a lot of other podcasts or radio stations or things like that you could listen to. But when you choose to listen to us, man, we really do appreciate it. And kind of like you said, man, we're just two dudes talking about football.
Unqualified dudes that just love football, want to talk about it, and you guys listening to us is honestly a blessing. So something we do not deserve, but
seriously, thank you so much. But now that we took some time to thank all our people, man. I think that's about it for this episode. That's gotta be
it,
yeah. But
don't forget, like, comment, share. We like all that stuff.
Subscribe.
Next week, I won't. Do I see a spoiler of what we're doing next week?
Nah, we gotta keep on their toes. We told them this last week we were doing receivers, so just stay tuned for our next episode.
Next episode, it's gonna be a fun one.
It is. We may even have. We'll see. Here's a little semi-teaser.
Yeah. Give a little teaser.
We may end up having 2 segments.
There might
be next week. We may have two different segments in our episode next week. So stay tuned.
Yes.
You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. We're all over the place.
Yeah.
But
except for Facebook, we didn't do Facebook, so
sorry. Yeah, sorry Facebook. Our Facebook people.
Yeah.
But hey, anyways, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you guys.
This is episode 2 of the 4th and 2 podcast.
4th and 2, baby.
We'll catch y'all next time in the next episode.
Next week.
See you guys.